Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Escape Plan, starring Sylvester Stallone,
Arnold Schwarzenegger! Blah!
Jim Caviezel, 50 Cent, Vinnie Jones, Vincent D'Onofrio, and Amy Ryan, and directed by Mikael Hofstrom. Now, I have seen this movie before. It's been since theaters, but let's just get right into this. It might be the same movie as I had fun with, but let's just get into it. Sylvester Stallone as Ray Breslin, who's a jail escaper and security critic, is not the character I can connect with very well, except for in this movie, which I'll get to later this year, which he was good in, and I thought he was just okay in this movie. And yes, he is in that movie, in case anybody didn't know that. But I'm honestly not a big fan of Stallone in general, and unfortunately, I just can't connect with the character despite his being in next week's movie. Abigail Ross, played by Amy Ryan, has very little to do in this movie, and I can't say if I like her or not. The character I can connect with, though, was Hush, played by 50 Cent, who I'm also not a big fan of as an actor, but I don't mind his character for what little he does in this movie. Lester Clark, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, is Ray's partner in the prison security system, and I said it in Jurassic World he was okay in, and I love him in the Daredevil Netflix series, but I like his character there and in Jurassic World a hell of a lot better than here, where it feels kind of obvious he's a bad guy, like he was after Jurassic World and Daredevil. I'm like, way too obvious. My point is, I don't like his character here. A woman named Jessica Miller sends Ray to New Orleans to get captured and thrown at a prison in which we don't know where the location is, ran by a prison warden named Hobbs, played by Jim Caviezel, who everybody knows him from this movie. Ever since that role, the actor in general kind of freaks me out quite a bit, but a security guard named Drake, played by Vinnie Jones, who I'm a big fan of after this movie. He was the juggernaut bitch in that movie, which I'll get to when I get to that X-Men series, but I like Vinnie Jones in here more than Jim Caviezel in any movie I've seen from him, so that was a step up for me. And speaking of a step up, I love the character of Rotmare, played by
Arnold Schwarzenegger! Blah!
And I'll talk about his funny lines in this series when I get there later. But here I love the hell out of Arnold's character. He may be the best thing about this movie in my opinion. I love the fight scene between him and Stallone, where Stallone hits like a vegetarian. That was really funny. When we get a Dr. Kyrie, played by Sam Neill, for a few scenes, and I feel like what a waste of Sam Neill's talent, especially after talking about him in Jurassic Park. I thought Rotmare draws an ass to show where a prison inmate, that's Ray, and draws a picture of an ass and points the arrow in the bunghole was very funny, but the corniest part of it was after he gets drained water in his face. He screams like this. It was just brilliantly hilarious. I just couldn't stop laughing my ass off. It was so fucking brilliant. Rotmare picks a fight with one of the inmates and distracts the warden and the guards, and Ray, realizing he's on a ship as a prison. And that I couldn't remember from my first viewing in theaters in 2013. Wow, I can't believe it's been 5 years since I've seen this movie, for one thing. We also find out Lester, Ray's partner, was a part of Ray being in the ship of a prison and Rotmare being in the same prison in the first place, being called something different. Rotmare asks Javed, played by Farhan Tahir, who I've seen and reviewed him in this movie before. And Rotmare says to Javed, if he wants to get out of here, he's got to raise the equipment Ray makes earlier in the film, and that was a smart move, and I really like that scene, and for that it's some smart way to get out of prison, in my opinion. I love how Ray, Rotmare, and Javed escape the guards and they go on the way out. And Ray, before he breaks the camera and says, "Say cheese." And the next thing you know, Rotmare smiles and Javed flips off the camera. And Ray breaks it, and that made me laugh, like, super hard. And Javed bleeds out to death and dies, and I don't think I cared too much because he did very little in this movie. The fight between Stallone and Vinnie Jones was absolutely brutal, particularly since Stallone throws Vinnie Jones down the stairs and it cracks his neck up, which I thought, oof, very brutal. Rotmare using a machine gun was a badass scene. Ray gets off the prison ship from the water flush, and Rotmare catches him underwater, and they shoot and blow up not only the ship and Hobbs and is dead, and they escape and land on an island where Jessica Miller is Rotmare's daughter, Jessica Mayer. And Ray figures out Rotmare was the someone Lester locked away, and now Lester is locked away. And I was satisfied with that as an ending. I thought it was pretty great. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 6.2 out of 10. This is not a perfect movie but it is a fun B movie with a little comedy in it. The action is good, not great, with an exception of 3 characters: Arnold, Vinnie Jones, and 50 Cent. I don't necessarily care for the other characters, and I had fun with it. It's enjoyable to watch, so I give it a look at and turn off your brain kind of thing. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I will be back with Escape Plan 2, Hades. And until next time,
Let's do it! Blah!